Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something really ambitious. A plan to take the most beat-up, forgotten parts of our planet and turn them into something amazing. Thriving, totally sustainable communities.
So let's start with this big question right here. This is the whole idea behind a company called Terraform Ventures. They look at a wasteland and they don't see an ending. Nope, they see a beginning, a totally blank canvas, just waiting for them to build something new.
All right, so before we can really get into how they plan to do this, we need to talk about where. What exactly are these blank canvases they're looking at? Well, they're pretty much everywhere. These huge, forgotten spaces that we just don't use.
And when I say they're everywhere, I mean it. Their scope is huge. You've got the obvious stuff, right? Barren deserts, rundown city blocks, but then they get really creative. Think about those old abandoned factories just rusting away, or even those weird little patches of land next to power lines. They're even looking at building stuff out on the ocean. For them, literally anywhere is a chance for a fresh start.
So, who is this company with such a wild ambition? Let's get into it. Meet Terraform Ventures.
Okay, so this is Terraform Ventures in a nutshell. But don't think of them as just some regular development company. They're a hybrid of a few different things. They're part cutting-edge research lab, part startup incubator, and part massive environmental cleanup crew, all rolled into one.
And this is where it gets really clever. They've built their whole mission on these 4 pillars, and it creates this amazing feedback loop. Check this out. They experiment with new tech. That tech leads to new ideas and innovations. They turn those innovations into actual profitable businesses. And then, this is the key, they use that money to fund the whole reason they started, to fix up these wastelands. It's a cycle that pays for itself.
So what's the magic ingredient that makes this whole cycle work? It's something they call Terraform tech. The best way to think about it is like, it's their secret sauce. It's the core technology that everything else is built on. It's what makes all their Earth-based projects possible and connects all the dots.
Okay, so we know the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. What's actually under the hood of this thing? Let's take a look at the tech they're using to make this all happen.
First up, hydroponics. This is a game changer because it totally solves one of the biggest problems with wastelands. The soil is usually terrible, right? Well, hydroponics doesn't need soil at all. You can grow food anywhere. I'm talking inside an old warehouse, on a boat, you name it. As long as you can control the environment, you can grow crops.
But wait, it gets even cooler. They add another layer with aquaponics. This is just brilliant. You've got fish in a tank, and their waste, instead of being a problem, becomes the perfect fertilizer for plants. And then, the plants filter and clean the water for the fish. It's this beautiful closed-loop ecosystem that basically runs itself.
Now, what do you do when you don't have a lot of space, like in an old factory or a small city lot? You go up. That's vertical farming. Instead of planting fields that stretch for miles, you stack layers of crops on top of each other. The amount of food you can grow in a tiny footprint is just incredible. It's like farming completely reimagined for urban spaces.
And they're not stopping there. Their toolkit is packed with all kinds of innovative farming ideas. We're talking farms built underground, using algae to create biomass for fuel and food. And get this, farms built inside shipping containers, so you can just drop them anywhere in the world and start growing. Seriously, from underground to the middle of the ocean, they've got a plan.
Okay, but the thinking here goes way beyond just farming. It's about creating a system where absolutely nothing is wasted. And it's one quote. This one really sums up their philosophy. Habitation as a CO2 source. Think about that for a second. What if people living somewhere wasn't part of the problem, but part of the solution?
And here's how that actually works. So people living in a building naturally create 2 things: CO2, just by breathing, and waste heat. Instead of just venting that out, their systems capture it. The CO2 gets piped over to the plants, which need it to grow. The waste heat, that's used to keep the greenhouses warm. The people living there literally become part of the engine that powers the whole system.
All right, so this tech is amazing, but this isn't just some science fair project. The goal here is to build a whole new kind of economy on top of it, one that's strong, diverse, and completely sustainable.
And just look at how they plan to make money. It's not just about selling lettuce and tomatoes. No way. They're getting into pharmaceuticals through bioengineering. They're making sustainable fabrics for clothes. They're even creating their own green building materials. It's so much more than a farm. It's a whole industrial ecosystem.
And how do they power all of this? Well, they do it themselves. They pull from all kinds of renewable sources: solar, wind, geothermal, you name it. So each site is basically its own power plant. And if they make extra energy, they just sell it back to the grid. That's yet another way they make money.
Okay, so you're making all this stuff, but how do you move it around? They've thought of that too. And it sounds like something straight out of the future. We're talking self-driving trucks, drones dropping off packages, even giant blimps to move the heavy stuff. And for local deliveries, good old-fashioned bicycles. It's a mix of high-tech and low-tech that's super efficient and green.
And this is what ties it all together. Bringing us right back to the beginning, the plan includes something called neo-income housing. Basically, it means people live right there, connected to the whole system. Their homes are part of the production facilities. It means the residents aren't just living there. They're an active part of this living, breathing, productive community.
So after all that, we're left with this huge question. We've just walked through this incredibly detailed, really brilliant plan to heal some of the most damaged parts of our planet and build something new. But is it real? Is this a practical roadmap we can actually follow? Or is it just a really cool science fiction story? I guess only time will tell, and you can be sure the whole world is going to be watching to find out.